And we are on.
All right, welcome to episode 13 of
Yep.
LinkedIn One on One. And our on one today is Muntaqa Peracha, who's heading commercial operations for Foodpanda in Pakistan. And as we were just talking, Foodpanda has been very, very active during this whole corona situation in Pakistan, Muntaqa. So I know that Salman has a lot of questions, as do I. But if you'd like to just give us a brief कि Foodpanda ने क्या क्या किया है, क्या इक़दामात लिए हैं, what steps they've taken, that would be, I think that'll be a great place to start.
Sure. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. So basically, if you look at it from a help perspective, so what have we done from a CSR initiative perspective? I would just like to focus on that. So there are two elements to it. One is how are we looking after our heroes, which is our riders that actually go out and deliver the food.
Yeah.
So there were like two Pakistans till last week. One was where delivery was allowed, and the other was where it was completely closed down. So Sindh was completely closed down. We were shut for almost 3.5, 4 weeks. And outside of Sindh, we were operating in various, operating hours with various leniency or strictness, but we were operating. So in those areas where we were operating, we saw initially a drop in sales volume. So we increased our incentives because our riders are paid based on the number of deliveries they do, right? And they're all freelance workers, independent workers. So they're not on a fixed salary. So one thing we had to do was to ensure that their earnings don't get hit. So that's one thing we did for them. And for the other ones where we were completely non-operational, so we came up with a whole package for them. So there were multiple things. So we were giving meals for the riders. We were giving them daily sort of wages for their essential groceries, so that they could at least keep their family, make sure that they don't go hungry. Then we introduced, we already had insurance for the riders. We introduced COVID insurance for them as well, so that if they're off for 2 weeks, due to COVID, and they're in quarantine, so their earnings can be subsidized, can be supplemented. So that worked really well. Then the other area was, okay, what do? We have a captive audience. We do, in a normal situation, if non-COVID situation, we do approximately 100,000 orders a day. So that translates, even if we do like 30% are those people that order more than once, that's still 70,000 unique people that you can touch every single day. So what can we do? So we did, again, two things. One, we have a great restaurant partners who we've worked with. They have been very, very willing and supportive. So they, with us, helped out. So some of them gave free meals. So we took them out to the medical workers, so to the paramedic staff. Now we're expanding that to the law enforcement agencies as well, to the armies, the rangers, the police forces, the people who are on the front lines to fight this pandemic, to ensure that we, follow all the SOPs and compliances. Then another area that we did was we opened up, these virtual donation stores on our app. So sitting anywhere in the world, all you need to do is just put your PIN in Pakistan, and you pay by credit card to 6, 7 different charity organizations that we have. And through that money, some individual will be given food. So it's basically related to food. All of it is related to somehow subsidizing food for the individuals. So these are the few things that we're doing from that perspective. There are a couple of other things in the pipeline as well. So we're making a restaurant package for our restaurant partners as well, because some of them, face a lot of difficulties, the smaller ones, where the daily wages used to come in and eat food. So the daily wages are not coming in, dine-in is closed. So how do they sustain only on deliveries? They're requesting us to provide them PPEs. So we're making a package. So hopefully, I'm hoping by Friday we should be able to announce that as well.
Yeah.
So amazing, amazing. So Umar and I were working on this model, right? That whatever effort in this time a company does, it should be connected into somehow a tenuous link with the product. I think you guys have created much more than a tenuous link. I really like the way that you're describing all the different activities you're doing, taking care of your staff, priority number one, and then taking care of your vendor partners, priority number two, and how you can merge that into sort of a coherent message that can go across. I think
Yeah.
it ticks all the boxes as far as that is concerned. But I do have a question related to how it's impacting your bottom line, because is this all philanthropic activity? Is it donation based? How is it working for you in terms of cash flow and sustainability of the business?
So see, some of it has taken a hit, yes, on our bottom line. So for example, our rider compensation, right? So that has, because their earning is directly linked to the number of orders that we bring into the platform. Now, if we're not bringing in orders, for example, we were not bringing in orders in Karachi, Sakkar, Hyderabad, and Larkana, the four
Right.
cities we were operational in Karachi, in Sindh, then how do we pay them? So that's a direct hit on the bottom line. Even in the areas where we increased our incentives because the order volumes were not the same. Now the order volumes, alhamdulillah, have actually crossed historic marks. So what we were doing
Oh,
pre-COVID, we are
okay.
approximately 15-20% higher than that in a few cities. In a few cities, we've doubled. So in the smaller cities, the tier two cities, if we may want to call them, like the Sheikhupuras and Jhelums and Rahimiyar Khans, we're doubling and tripling in those cities. So that's very interesting. So yes, there's a bottom line hit over there. Then there is the philanthropic angle as well, which is where we raise donations. So we're raising donations and we're giving them to the Shaukat Khanams, JDC, Selanis, UNAP, so multiple organizations that we partnered with, Indus Hospital. So we're giving to them. So that is basically money in, money out. Nothing from an operational perspective.
Right.
Then there's the third area where we're actually partnering with the restaurants, where they're providing us food at either cost price or slightly below cost price, and we're going out and delivering. So we're not charging for the deliveries, we're subsidizing the food, yes, but that's not done by us, that's done by the vendors themselves. And then the money that we raise through the platforms, we will eventually have a donate a meal
Oh, okay.
Very nice.
stored
Very
there
nice.
as well. So you can donate a specific meal, and then you can donate 100 or 1,000 or 10 or 1, whatever you may
Wow.
want to do.
Yeah.
So the delivery that is done, that will be a cost to us because we're not going to be charging for the delivery for that, the last mile. So it's a mix of both.
But right, no, that's really good. How long did it take to craft this strategy and bring it into execution?
So
Well,
24th March. Yeah, yeah.
before the Corona crisis, Muntaqa had a full head of hair,
I wish.
Well, he's
and
still getting a haircut, dude. With all the barber
for
shops closed, I have to ask him how he's managing.
I no, I need to do it today. I was wondering, how do I do it? So I think I'm going to use the wife's artistic, creative abilities and see what happens.
There you go. Good luck with that. So I'm glad we did the video today.
Yeah, exactly. So 24th March is when we moved to work from home in Karachi. It was a
Okay.
long weekend, I remember, so we never went back to work after the long weekend.
yeah.
And then I think from the 25th, Wednesday, I think it was work from home strict. Like we implemented it, no one comes to work, even before the government had said anything else. So at that time, we did. So we didn't have any of these things in mind at that time because everything was so fluid. We had no idea what was going to happen, right?
Right.
And then things started to shut down. Our delivery started to shut down. Law enforcement agencies would come in, ask the restaurants to close down, even though notification were out that the restaurants can work. But it takes time to get that implemented all the way down the chain. So
Yeah.
the Sipahi on the road won't know immediately. So it takes a couple of days for them to also understand what's happening. So we initially figured out how do we supplement, how do we keep people at home? So we worked with the government to get that up and running from a restaurant perspective, open the deliveries up. They were very supportive and they did it. Outside of Sindh, Sindh was a different situation because Karachi was the first one that got hit. So they went on a different path, which is understandable as well. When that happened, then we realized that this is the ideal opportunity. Every crisis brings an opportunity, right? So it's an ideal opportunity to support the citizens in staying at home by introducing groceries and pharmacy and medicines on our platform. So we literally took 4 days. I remember we had a call on Friday internally. So with my CEO, I got the approval that let's launch PandaMart. He said, sure, let's do it. But then we'll have to move very quickly because this is the time when people need to stay home. So we need to facilitate them. So we launched PandaMart literally within 4 days. We were ably supported by Nestle and Al Fatah in it. They were willing to be the first partners with us. So we launched groceries. Then we launched pharmacies. During this time, when we were doing this, that's when we had another leadership meeting internally, and we were getting pressure on the rider side in terms of, because Karachi had by that time been closed for a couple of weeks. So then we were getting pressure internally, not raised by the riders, but raised by our own team ourselves. That what do we do, right?
Right.
So that's when we came up with the idea of the rider incentives. We reached out to our global team. They were very open and very receptive to it as well. And while doing this, we decided to do a CSR initiative as well at the same time. So in all honesty, it took us 5 to 7 days to get it up and running. See, the biggest benefit is we're a tech player, right? So we're integrated from a payment perspective. We're integrated from a store perspective. We can open up a store very quickly. It just takes us 2 days, 1 day, sometimes even 3 hours. So all we need to do is just get the moving parts in place, and everything is sort of sorted. So technology, again, I guess, helps you to be very quick and agile and fast moving. And the culture internally also is similar to that as well, right? So it helped us from that perspective.
So from medium to long term, or second wave to third wave perspective, do you see the cash on delivery model actually dying finally, or are we still doing cash on deliveries?
So from our platform perspective, our tier one cities are better, like the Lahore, Karachi, Islamabad, Pindi. But overall, from a platform perspective, the split would be 90-10, cash versus card, pre-COVID. We are doing the numbers right now, figuring out. I mean, I cannot use today's data to figure out a trend. Why? Because it's too soon with Karachi being unavailable
Right.
on the app. So we need to have Karachi working fully with on the full operating hours from a restaurant perspective to really be able to see if there's been an impact or not. On our side, we've been pushing contactless deliveries. We've been pushing pay by card. So we've seen a little bit of uptick. Anything to write home about? No.
Okay.
Do I see that this is going to be, a short to medium term change? Probably not. See, one biggest issue in terms of moving to online is, who do I move with as a consumer, right? I have 8 options of wallets. I have 6 options of fintechs. I have my credit card and debit card. Ideally, I don't want to use the credit card, debit card, because that's only a very small percentage of the population that has that. The much larger population has a wallet. And then how do I ensure that my preferred wallet is integrated with that particular app as well? So for me, as Foodpanda, right now the biggest challenge is, who do we integrate with? Right, from a payment perspective, cards are easy, right? Because you just have a gateway and you're integrated. But from a wallet perspective, if I choose player A, then I'll have to choose player B as well, and then player C as well. Even then, I don't cover the 100% population that uses wallets. So that's a big challenge from that perspective as well.
Yeah, you need something that's completely interoperable. Salman, where does that sound very familiar? Oh, we actually just a couple of days ago we spoke to the CTO of Fori, Mehdi Hussain, who's a good friend, and he was talking about the interoperability of Fori being its major
Yeah,
success
yeah,
factor, right? So you install one app and it basically gives
yeah,
you access to all the plumbing behind the scenes, connects all
exactly.
the bill issuers with the cash holders, the banks, and so on. So yeah, I think you need a solution that potentially
Yeah,
does that interoperability
yeah.
for you. So yeah,
Right.
very
And
very
no, I think that's really amazing. I mean, so you've shown resilience. Your business model has shown, that you can bounce, which is something that I found is prevalent in most Pakistani organizations, because we're so resilient as organizations. We have a backup of a backup of a backup in most cases, whereas Western organizations don't even have one backup. If it
Yeah.
goes down, it's down, right? So, I think I like what I've heard. It's very impressive. What do you think is the post-COVID scenario in terms of, uh, will it be business as usual, or will it be work from home for a long extended period in Pakistan?
The first question is, when is the post-COVID scenario coming in? I mean, that we
Hmm.
don't know, right? So that's the biggest question mark right now. So if we talk about specifically our organization, I think it's more of a case of burning out, working from home, rather than, you know,
Hmm.
not being able
Exactly.
to
Exactly
do
what he
the
said.
work properly.
Exactly
Yeah.
what he said. Oh my God, work from home in Pakistan is bloody work
Yes.
24 hours a day.
Yeah. See,
It's
and we also have a very different kind of situation as Foodpanda, right? And अब Ramzan aa raha hai, so it's going to be a big challenge because
Hmm.
our vendors will be sleeping in the day and they'll be working at night. So we
Hmm.
need to, I think we'll probably change our working times and work till Seri and then sleep and wake up at noon. I think that's probably going to happen across the company for us. So post COVID, well, not post COVID, so post some sort of normalcy around
Hmm.
it. I think organizations will be a lot more flexible in terms of working from home. But see, even right now, if I look at it from a Pakistan perspective, completely forget, the West. From Pakistan perspective, the companies that were not willing to allow people to work from home, they still won't, because it's not anything. It's not a mindset. It's a culture thing. I mean, they're not
yeah,
built like that,
yeah.
so they need to have that person in front of them. These are the ones who have their finance guys, for example, working with them for 25 years, because they can trust that individual. So they work on a don't trust anybody policy. My father says, that there are some individuals, or we can call them the sates. Some of the sates, they have the DTA policy, don't trust anybody. So they only have a very small circle of people that they trust, and they are the ones who are managing the finance of their organization. The
Right.
rest is just, business as usual for them. So that's the biggest challenge. Like, do we expect the textile companies to be okay in terms of the back office working from home? Probably not. The manufacturing sector, probably not. The e-commerce sector, yes. Um, I mean, we as Food Panda are running out of space. Like every month we talk about, okay, we're running out of space in the office. What do we do? Expand, expand, expand. But we haven't, because we understand there's a lot of in and out as well. So you don't have to have, it's a 100 employee organization, for example. I don't need to have 100 seats. I can work with 80 because the rest of them will be in and out. Right now, we're having that discussion internally that maybe we don't expand. Maybe we just let people work flexibly like this. They come in when it's required, but trust the people to do the work, because we've seen it. I mean, the past month, I've seen people working probably longer hours, which we don't encourage, but the situation is like that because we're launching new verticals, so we have to put in the extra effort. But so in those areas, I'm sure the tech companies would probably be a lot more willing than your traditional manufacturing or traditional outlets.
Great answer. Yeah. So I'm out of questions. Omar, it's your turn.
No, I think I really enjoyed the discussion. Yeah, this is very illuminating, and Food Panda has been one of those very agile organizations, and they've actually demonstrated agility without compromising on the brand side of things, and I find that very unique in Pakistan, because the first thing that usually goes out of the window is the brand, right? यार बस छोड़ो छोड़ो इसको छोड़ो यार, but do something tactical, do something short term. So whatever you guys are doing is still connected to the brand, and it's helping the business to build equity in the long term, because
Yeah.
people will remember how Food Panda made them feel during and after the crisis. Your riders will remember कि Food Panda stood with us. Your restaurant partners will remember कि यार Food Panda ने हमारी ली नहीं है इसके दौरान यार, हमें support किया है. So, and your colleagues will say, कि अच्छा यार, let's see how this work from home thing continues onwards. Because it is always, I think, going to be the tech companies that define work culture in Pakistan.
Yeah.
The cool new offices are with the tech companies, and the Kareems, for example, launched the unlimited vacation policy, right? Can you imagine having an unlimited vacation policy in a bank, or in a traditional company? It would never fly. It would
Yeah.
just, I mean, it would literally never happen. So, I mean, I think we are looking to the tech companies to help us evolve that work culture over time. And I think COVID is a great opportunity to drive developments in the fintech space as well, right? As you said. So, give me some ideas. What can we do to actually take touchless payments or contactless payments further down the market? How can we do that?
So that's interesting. I was on another call, and Telenor was mentioning, how they've come up with a QR payment mechanism, which is offline as well. So with no integration required, the individual can just take a QR code with them, and you can choose to pay by QR. Very good. Um, Again, scalability is a problem. I'm not see touchless. I think we're way behind going to contactless payments. We're way behind that right now. I mean, to be very honest, half of the banks, um, ATMs have uptime issues. Credit card have uptime issues. You swipe on one machine, it doesn't work. You swipe on the other one, it works. I mean, how does that happen? That just does not make sense, right? You swipe, sometimes it says denied, do not honor, and then you swipe it on the other one and it goes through. I mean, how does that happen? So there are some very basic elements that need to be solved first before we can. I mean, we're trying to jump a couple of curves probably right now, which is not
Yeah.
that easy. We need to first get that solved. Maybe so, like for example, the telcos. So the telcos have a huge base, so they have that scale, possibility as well. So Jazz Cash and Easy Pesa. Tomorrow maybe Zong will come up with something else as well. Ufone may come up with something. So between them, they would be able to cover the entire population of Pakistan.
Pretty
So
much.
I think scale from them is probably going to be much longer lasting than the other fintech players. Even I mean, it might sound really bad to them right now. Hearing from someone who's not in the fintech field, but that's just my field right now. There has to be some sort of partnership and arrangement with from the fintechs with the telcos to work together with them. Everyone is trying to build their own dairy in ki masjid, and it will become an issue end of the day. Like for example, even us, so we have a Panda wallet, it's called Panda Pay. um, but we're not trying to become a super app where we everything will come and integrate with us and you can use your Panda Pay balance and pay for anything in the world. No, we want you to be able to use this within just our network. So use it for your home deliveries. Tomorrow we open up dine-in, for example, for you. You can use it for dine-in as well. We can use it for our restaurant payments because we do a weekly payment cycle with the restaurants. We'll use it for our riders as well. So it's a closed loop within us. Just use it for us. So that's where I think everyone is stuck. Do we focus on a closed loop and have everyone integrated, or do we do complete open loop and hope that people sort of get on the bandwagon? It's a challenge. I don't think contactless is anywhere near
Nearest
implementation
solution.
for us. Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Excellent. Excellent. Acha, so I noticed that you didn't actually give a specific answer to Salman's question. So I'm going to come back to it. What's your prediction? When does post-corona officially start in Pakistan?
So I the best case, in my opinion, is September.
Wow.
Um, yeah, yeah.
Seriously.
See,
Right.
yeah, yeah. I mean, nothing's. See, the cases are still increasing, right? We have to. I don't even know if schools are going to open June 1st or not. There may be a
नहीं वो
case where they get
उन्होंने तो
delayed
already कह दिया नहीं
even
करेंगे.
further.
हाँ.
So that's a question. We're opening up a little bit. We've already eased up right now. Ramzan is going to be a bit of a challenge. People are going to go out for pakora, samosas. They'll have their tables outside the restaurants, and people are going to go there for pickups. That's not going to work. Then you have your religious places; they're opening up as well.
Oh God,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah.
there won't be social distancing over there. Then you have your grocery shops, which everyone will come in at a certain point in time. No one is going to come pre-Zohar because everyone will be sleeping at that time or working. It's a big challenge. The cases are going to increase. September is my best case scenario right now. Um, for everything to come back to pre-COVID times, we're talking about a year from now.
Damn.
If it does,
I think
that's the
that's a
reality. I mean, we need to be
yeah.
ready for that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's why I was saying that organizations that show resilience in their business models, like Foodpanda has shown, are the ones that are going to make a buck out of this. And those organizations that don't show resilience, and Seth Saab expecting his employees to stand in front of him, oh भाई उन employees में से किसी एक को हो गया ना कोविड सब भाग
Yeah.
जाएंगे.
Yeah.
People would save their lives. They won't come to office.
No, it's just
This
very
is
simple
real,
thing.
right?
I mean, I look at my circle of people that I hang out with professionally or personally. Majority of them, yes, are taking this seriously, but there is a significant minority who are all exposed individuals, not even individuals who are not exposed to the world, exposed, well traveled, well educated, and they're not taking it as seriously as they should be. So if
Yeah.
this is prevalent in this circle, imagine the individual who has no idea what COVID is and is out on the road and is just working on a day-to-day basis, trying to earn his 500 to 1,000 rupees on a daily basis. How
Yeah.
can we
Yeah.
expect that individual to take all the precautions? Similar situation with restaurants. Some vendors do realize that they're in this for the longer run, but some of the vendors don't realize that dine-in is not going to open up after Eid, for example, Choti Eid. It's not going to open up. So plan for that, yeah. If it opens up, well and good. I mean, we would be more than happy. But plan for it to not be open. And then let's hope for the best.
Yeah.
So I have one
Yeah.
last question, if you'll allow me.
Ji, ji.
Uh, have you guys done a comms piece on the 5 or 6 things that you've done during this period? Because one of your competitors has done a lot of comms around what they've done and how they're working with the government, etc., etc. No names, but you know who I'm
Yeah, yeah.
talking about.
Yeah.
Have you guys thought about doing a comms piece around this?
So we've pushed communications on our channels, yes,
Okay.
on the things that we've done. And we're not putting it out on the in the papers yet, because we want to make sure that we get it done first, and ensure that
Okay.
it's executed properly. That's one. Second is we send out our weekly or daily sometimes now newsletters. So we're informing our customers of what we are doing,
Okay.
because that helps in two ways. One, it gives them confidence that okay, you know, we are in a position of responsibility and we are lucky enough to be capable and able to do this. So let's let them know so that they have that confidence. And second is, in those comms, we're also telling them how the vendors are looking after the safety and hygiene and what we are doing from a compliance perspective for them as well. So it's combined.
Okay. All right.
So it helps out from that perspective. But we're going to put up a restaurant package and we're going to do a comms on that, because otherwise it won't be so widespread to all the restaurant industry. We have 10,000 restaurants, 11,000 restaurants now on our platform. So we can't
Okay.
go out and tell
Sure.
everyone.
Sure. Yeah.
Wow. Wow, mashallah. Excellent. Muntaqa, do you have any questions for us?
No, I think I've talked enough, and
No, yeah, we have. I know I'm speaking for Salman, but I think this has been a very interesting conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time, and I wish you and Food Panda all the very best. And inshallah, we will get through this. This
inshallah,
too shall pass.
yeah, yeah, we'll come out as a more resilient country and companies and individuals.
Hashtag
That's
resilient
yeah,
Pakistan.
yeah,
Absolutely. We have backup number 4 now. We survived COVID. Backup number
yeah.
4.
You want to
True.
survive COVID? Come to Pakistan. Another
Uh,
reason to travel
Exactly.
to Pakistan.
हम
We don't.
बताएगा, हम बताएगा.
We killed COVID.
Hey man. No. All right.
okay,
Anyway,
thank you
thank you
so
so
much,
much,
guys.
guys.
Thank you.
All right. Have an
Thank you.
awesome day, yaar. Thank you.
You too,
Allah
Ji.
Hafiz.
Allah Hafiz.